And this is Luca Martelli and Tania Levoy from Oracle. Oracle, you teams met a little bit yesterday already, so you had a very good opening session and onboarding and getting to know your tools. But what you don't know, what they do so awesomely in the back. And Luca and Tania will explain everything there is about everything. No, I don't think we have enough for everything, but they will give you some very good insights and guidelines what to think about when you will be creating and how awesome things are being already in place, in action from the Oracle group. So Luca, take it away.
Hey, thank you very much. So first of all, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are. I'm still, I'm in my morning. It's snowing outside. I'm based out of Italy in Bologna, and I'm taking care for Oracle of our security for Oracle Europe, Middle East, and Africa. Tania?
Hi, yes.
Would you like to say hello?
Hi there. Yeah, so I'm Tania Levoy. I'm based out of the UK in a very wet, cold and windy morning for me this Saturday. And I look after the product strategy for a very innovative group within Oracle, which is called Oracle Digital.
So we thought about going straight forward into two topics that we care a lot at Oracle. One is security, my area, of course, and the other one is everything else, including security, but also sustainability that Tania will be covering. And those two areas are crucial when we think about, you building the new digitalization for smart ships. And we would like to share something that maybe could be useful as well in your hackathon 2 days, some key elements that maybe you can think about when developing those projects, of course, because yes, you are defining the future. I will be starting on the security side, of course, and we are all digital. Are we? Yeah, of course. Have a look at this Zoom session here. But are we all digital safe? Well, I'm going to comment with some examples during this session. At the same time, we'd like to share why security, cybersecurity, whatever, anybody is using his own terminology, but we kind of have a feeling what it is. But how it is related to the digital interaction. From my perspective, is trust. And it's all about then creating or using that also as a business advantage. I try to see that positively if I can. I would like then to share a couple of things around maritime and security, which could be, for example, sources of attacks into the maritime world and where to defend, for example, new applications in that area to create that digital trust, and some good principles, for example, zero trust, security by design, that could be used to design the new information technology systems that has to support this full digital age. And I try not to be, at the end, it's Saturday morning, not to be too much academic, if you will, but we can try to find out three main areas, and let's put ourselves in the minds of the end user, the organization, the company which is building those systems, and of course there are developers over there, which are the impact, brand reputation, just anticipating a few things, and somebody which is external to us, which are the regulators. They are, of course, anyway interested, and they are part of the equation. I think it's good to have an high-level understanding of what each of those guys are thinking or are doing or not doing when it comes to security. So let's start with, and we are, by the way, also end users, so maybe you find yourself into one of those end users. So tell me, are you using one of those top 10 passwords in your applications? Think about that. Of course, you don't have to answer. If you answer yes, you are excluded from the tournament here, from the hackathon. Jokes apart, I'm very happy to see that password moved away from number 2 and moved to 4. You see, it was the number 2. And also passwords are more secure because you see that now people are going into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 characters, very smart. So this is the user you have to deal with. Can you trust them? Can you trust them? That's a question mark. That's something you have to think about. Of course, you're not here. If you are, change your password immediately. But don't put that too incorrect. If you put that into incorrect, you will remind me. Here's another example of user here. So yeah, those two guys are receiving an email. You see, maybe yours and hear some background noise. Those are two smart users. They think, oh yes, it's an email with a virus. No, it's an email with a regular attachment. It's an invoice. Now let me check. Oh, it's an invoice. No, it's a virus. Don't go there. And the guy which is more skeptical is the one that's going to try. So you think he's smart, I'm just going to die. So this is the reality of what's happening in everyday's life at the consumer level. We have not necessarily to trust one consumer, and by the way, all the others, because this is scaling. You know what is the first vulnerability factor in IT today? Human being. The mistakes that human beings are doing in managing technology. Doesn't mean that they are not there to use the technology, but when we develop something, we have to think about methodology on the cybersecurity level to reduce this risk, to prevent that, to help our customers. That's something that they would be appreciating. So as I said, just some examples, to set the scene and understand what's going on and what we have to deal with in any sector. For example, when it comes to enterprises, another example I wanted to share is still around transportation, but it's not about a boat or a ship. It's around a car in this case. It's a famous case from 2015 where a Jeep was actually hijacked on the highway. Of course, it was a test over there that was done. And those two guys from the sofa with a couple of PC using some network and sources of attacks, potential ways, they were, for example, taking control of the control panel of the car. They were increasing the heating. They were having their picture put there in front of the radio instead of, actually the radio itself. They were closing the door, and at the end, they were taking full control of the car. The car was driven by the other guys. So this is something that, of course, it's more serious. It's not just like, maybe an email. It's something that could be more serious. And in their demonstration, it was ending up with also this kind of situation. So the car was driven off the road. Why this is relevant for the enterprises and anybody which is developing IT systems, because it's important to have a baseline of security that can allow not this kind of things to happen. And this is all about trust that you want to create with your customers. So in this case, which is by the way, from 2015, it was also having direct impact. It's not just about a matter of brand reputation. There were direct costs. They had to recall 1.5 million cars. The stock price was impacted. And of course, fines as well were there. So from an enterprise perspective, all of those are elements that we want to prevent. And a good, let me say, baseline of cybersecurity in the platform you decide to use to develop your infrastructure can help to reduce that risk. Risk will never go away, to be honest. If somebody is going to tell you that they are having solutions which is secure proof about any attacks, could be a challenge, because in reality the risks are always there. So that's why it's important as well to have a program which is evolving continuously. Some of you are developers, I'm sure, and I'm sure you're coding perfectly, but some other developers are not. Many are not nowadays. This is also something that we have to keep into account. This is a screenshot of a piece of code where actually they were coding not very well, including username and password over there into the code. And, this is part of a cultural thing. If we plan to have a digital world, which is all digital, has to avoid these kind of mistakes, of course. Somebody could say it's a mistake. Somebody could be saying it was the easy way to do it. Well, that's the cultural change that we can have an impact on, making sure that there is a proper level of security culture into the teams responsible for delivering new technologies. So that's really something which is requesting the security mindset to be there from the very beginning and not later on, understanding which are the impact of having or not having that. There is also another interesting concept, which is nowadays quite common into the IT industry that can help. It's called zero trust controls. And I'm explaining here in a very technical way, as you see. So bottom line, it's something in which, hey, we've implemented the zero trust. One guy is saying to the other, oh, I don't believe you. Exactly. So that's really the point. Having each piece of code, human being, devices which are talking to each other, not trusting each other by default, but having them to continuously authenticate, validate who they are, making sure that it's reduced the space for somebody to use some, let me say, potential hole and exfiltrate, for example, data. So this is a very nice principle that the industry is adopting. Of course, when it comes to the Oracle Cloud, is the baseline of our Oracle Cloud as well. And it's really a competitive advantage. Why? because you're having something which is embedding that security principles, and you can build on top of them without the need to reinvent it. So you can just use it. So we are into the regulators. I don't know how much you are with the regulators. Maybe you got some fines time to time because of speed ticketing, something like that, or park ticketing. These guys nowadays are also doing bigger fines, for example, when it comes to data protection. So for sure, you are aware of GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation, that was created by the European Commission, European Union, for European citizens. But in reality, there are similar rules across the world. In North America, for example, it's very popular nowadays, the California Privacy Act, which is very similar. We do see in Middle East a lot of regulations popping up as well. To make an example, Egypt created just last year, and it's entering into law this year, Exalia Data Protection Regulation. And I don't want to spend too much time on the left part here. You can have a look, but the message is, for example, the companies has been declaring 170,000 breach notifications. So those are the breach that they had to notify that they happened because personal data of the user they were managing were stolen. Of course, there has also been fine, you see, substantial fines. It could be 4% of the turnover, which is a lot of money. Could be bankrupting somebody, potentially, if it is not a good year for profits. But I think it's more important to understand why it was done. And it was very well declared by the European Union. It's all about trust. So the message was, we have to have a more protected world from a data perspective, personal data, in order to make sure that the citizen will be having trust in using those digital services. And to reduce all of that, we have to infuse with a good manner and the bad manner, the fines as well, when that's not happening, to change that behavior by default. So that's, I think, the big message that we're having from regulations like GDPR. So this is kind of a context, we saw three areas in which the consumer, the enterprises, and also the regulators are trying, well, the challenges they have, the mistakes they do, but also why they are, potentially having security, keeping care from the very beginning as an advantage. So where are the vulnerabilities? So allow me to go a little bit one level down. Where are the surfaces that could be used, that are exposed to enter into an IT system? There are many. I don't want to enter into all of them, but typical examples, having a systems which is not patched. Everybody knows what patching means. You do it when you are requested on your Mac, on your Linux, on your Windows. Of course, makes sense. But can you imagine if you don't do that? If you don't do that on time, and if you're running a big organization, maybe you're having hundreds of those Windows machines or servers. Well, it's very easy then for somebody to get in through that non-patch systems and getting to do whatever they want. Damage your data, exfiltrate your data, take the picture of somebody that they are interested in, or maybe even deleting your data, or applying a ransom to your data. They encrypt that. So that's just one source. There are other simple examples, giving too many rights, user rights, to people that can do everything. That's called poor access control. So why everybody could be doing everything? No. We want to go into the zero trust model. They have to do what they need to do, and we want to make sure every time we are checking what they're doing. But there are three kind of interesting comments here. You see some consequences here. So there's been a tech company that, because of a misconfiguration for the customer support databases, lost 1/4 billion of personal data. That's the kind of scale, and you see in human error. That was from the UK just last year. 90% anyway of the breaches were because of human error in not managing correctly the systems, because maybe they were too complex and so on. So those are some of the surface in general, but let's have a look to the maritime world. Think about, for example, a yacht or a vessel. Which are the areas that it's making sense to pay attention? I put them into 5 categories: internet connection, the mobile devices, the remote management systems, the equipment, and of course, also the onboard entertainment. I want to start from this one actually into my comments because we want to have a better experience. We want to offer a better experience, and the onboard entertainment is perfectly adaptable for that. It's important that this is protected. That's used very well and very easily, if you will, by somebody to try to get into. So designing a new onboard entertainment system, for example, it's important that having those security level. And yeah, there are examples in the equipment area of updating inappropriately the GPS and even potentially giving a wrong direction to the boat. Remote management, that's very cool and very needed, especially in big boats. And that's another area where it's possible, to potentially, do damages, if you will. And of course, the users are connecting through the laptop, tablet, to the onboard Wi-Fi, if you will. And that's also something that we have to take into account. It's not part of the core system, if you will, but in reality, that's something that could be used as a way of attacking. Maybe they are using a very simple password, and through that simple password, somebody will try to get in. So we have to be able to identify those situations. So, of course, I'm just here giving some ideas, some areas of attention when developing, of course, new systems that you're thinking about, and new ecosystems as well in the digital world. When it comes to the technology that can help, there are 2-3 areas that all the time are really helping. Making sure that the identities, digital identities, people are properly authenticated with the right level of security, with the proper login and not simple password, maybe with something more than just a password. We can work on the software security side. You remember the example of this poor coding that I was screenshotting over there. And then also securing the data. Where you store the data, it's very important to make around that proper layer of securities to reduce the risk that even if somebody, because everybody wants to get out the data, is getting to that part, it's not having many chances because there is a proper level of protection. And we talk about the cloud. Cloud is a mean of digitalization, is a mean of innovation, is a mean of being agile and fast in delivering new services. And of course, the Oracle Cloud here is, we are trying to play a role in supporting that digitalization. It's interesting to read that 3/4 of the customers in the globe are thinking that the cloud is a more secure place than traditional systems. And that's because of all the protection that are put there out of the box by the cloud vendors. For Oracle, it's we call it active defense in our cloud. We call it OCI, just in case it comes out. Probably you saw that already because you played with that yesterday, I think. But there are 3 principles. One is that the security we put together is architected in. It's not something that you have to build. So we do, for example, I don't know, encryption out of the box. It's automated. So there are agents continuously monitoring what's happening. And if there is a strange security event, we proactively notify to the administrator of the cloud tenant, hey, there is something you want to have a look at. And that's available for all the applications on top. And it's always on, something that in most cases, of course, not all of the features, but we are actually keeping always on by default. And that's also another good principle. So building on top of this platform, we hope, is going to give a good competitive advantage when it comes to security. I don't want necessarily to go into all the details here, but I think that it's nice to maybe mention this concept of security by design. If you think about the cloud, it's not just software, it's also hardware. So zero trust is something that we use also at the chip level. So it's not just something so simple at software level, but it's going through all the stack. And there are a lot of features that you find into the Oracle Cloud, like the identity, the key management, the cloud access security broker, the web application firewall. Those are specific components helping out to reduce that exposure and increase those cybersecurity defenses. And our goal is to make them, I have to say, at the reasonable price, almost for free in some cases. And why that? Because we do believe that these components is something needed to build a new platform, so it doesn't have to be necessarily too big of a cost. And last but not least, the automation part. Take the example of where you store the data into the Oracle Cloud, which is the autonomous database, the autonomous data warehouse. We do all apply patches for you. We do all make all these kind of controls. So you can focus on what is really developing value on top of that, and not necessarily thinking about which are the things that I should be doing. So hopefully with this, intro, I've been able to describe why cybersecurity is relevant for this new digital world. It's just one element. It's not the only one. It's also important to have a sustainable world. And for that, I will be happy to hand over to Tania.
Super. Thank you very much, Luca. That was great. So yes, I just wanted to kind of explore a little bit with you about Oracle and the personalities behind Oracle, actually, and the people who deliver some of this technology. So first of all, at Oracle, sustainability, it's everybody's job, right? It's really important to us. It's a priority for our company, and we want it to be something that employees consider in their work every day and all year round. And we do some great kind of activities, initiatives that our volunteers at Oracle help with. And one example of that is our support for Ocean Conservancy. Now, their work is focused on solving some of the greatest threats to the ocean. So they bring people, science, policy together, and they go about and champion innovative solutions for a sustainable ocean. And one of the things they do is they organize a global cleanup during spring, where volunteers from around the world, we go along, we pick up rubbish along the shores of local waterways and beaches. And Oracle volunteers are fully engaged in helping with this type of initiative. And I know that you just can't kind of help being inspired by the ocean, right? I mean, I'm a real keen sailor myself, and so this is close to my heart. But a healthy ocean, as was said in the opening keynote, it's essential to sustaining life on this planet. People, communities depend on the ocean every single day. And well, I think we just all need to do our bit, right, to help protect it. So next slide, please, Luca. So we've got many customers that are using our technology for various sustainability initiatives. And our solutions at Oracle kind of help our customers improve environmental performance, and again, contributing together with our customers to make an impact. One of those customers here is Oceanworks. And I just wanted to let you know about their exciting mission, actually. So Oceanworks is a global marketplace for recycled ocean plastic materials and products. And what it does is it connects the global demand for sustainable materials with supply. So hence it supports the circular economy, and what it does, it intercepts plastic waste, now ideally before it enters marine environments. And then it makes this valuable resource really easily accessible. Its goal is to reduce the use of virgin materials and really eliminate the demand for new plastic by recycling and reusing it. It uses Oracle Cloud, as Luca was mentioning, to kind of check the availability of its supply chain and its track and trace application. So it's using our technology to help it fulfill its goals. Now, since launching its online marketplace, I think it was like 2019, Oceanworks has worked with hundreds of organizations to make it really simple as possible to begin incorporating eco-friendly ocean plastic products, materials into their customers' supply chains. Next slide, please, Luca. So this one, well, Oracle is a long-time supporter of Pristine Seas. Now, you may have heard this. Pristine Seas is a National Geographic initiative, and they identify surveys, they do surveys that protect, and what they do is they restore the last wild places in the ocean before it's too late. The National Geographic's largest initiative, and is dedicated to complete environmental preservation. Now, today, there's only 7% of the ocean protected, and science is telling us that we need at least 30% of the ocean protected by 2030 if we're to preserve our life support system. Now, it's been challenging times for all of us, wherever you are, right? The pandemic has been a loud wake-up call for humanity that we need to protect more of the planet because nature is the best vaccine we have. The Pristine's team the team of scientists there and filmmakers, what they did is they set out to identify and restore some of these stretches of ocean. And the teams have inspired the creation of 23 marine reserves. And that's covering nearly 6 million square kilometers of ocean. And that's 23 marine reserves protected forever, which is, it's amazing. And their work will continue in the years ahead. The organization's doubling down on its mission to restore the health of our ocean ecosystem and, well, to ensure these spaces remain wild too. Oracle's been supporting Pristine Seas since the program began. I think it was back in 2008 with support for their research expeditions, all the media work, which is really important, that together with the policy work and of course, working very closely with the local communities helps to, excuse me, create these protected environments. So Luca, next slide, please. So Clean Cloud, well, I did want to touch, we talked about a lot of Oracle technology and you're using Oracle technology today. Now, we do focus on making a difference by optimizing our data centers, our hardware, products, and our business operations for sustainable and energy efficiency. We're continuously looking for ways to design our hardware for reduced environmental impact and to control the end-of-life treatment of hardware to reduce the environmental waste. Now, the Oracle data centers deliver a more sustainable computing platform, and it's efficient, it's renewable, and it is aligned again with the circular economy. For example, to secure the energy required for its data centers, it's an ongoing operations really. Oracle set a new goal to power Oracle Cloud with 100% renewable energy by 2025. Now already, Oracle's European data centers in London, Amsterdam, Frankfurt, and Zurich, they're already powered with 100% certified renewable energy. And we're going to be applying all of those lessons learned from those markers to our data centers across the rest of the world. Next slide, please, Luca. So this is our mission statement at Oracle, and it's to help our customers see data in new ways, discover insights, and look endless possibilities, just to do remarkable things in remarkable ways in whatever industry our customers are in. Now, I know maybe some of you haven't worked with Oracle before. Maybe you've heard of us or seen of us when our logo appears if you've been using Java, or even when you've been buying your coffee at a Starbucks till. We have been around for decades, and we kind of do a little bit of everything. But at the heart of what we do is data. We're a data company, and our mission is to help you to use data and information in different ways to unlock the insights and possibilities that are out there. And I truly believe that over the next 2 days, with you all together, this is a really critical part of our mission statement and what you're going to do. You're going to do something so innovative and important that it doesn't matter where you were located. This is all about being a global citizen, making a difference and using the technology to address a significant challenge. It's about creating apps that will really make a difference and ultimately using tech for good. Next slide, please, Luca. So I think you've seen this slide yesterday as well, but so what happens after the hackathon? Well, we hope you like us and you want to try us out more with always free services that you can use, and you're free to test things out, innovate, and see if you like them. Next slide, please, Luca. We've also got lots of other free platforms. I know some of the guys I work with, my colleagues are on the call today, that they've created a lot of these amazing assets for you. We've got lots of education here for you, and we'd love you to come on the journey with us. Make these applications, make a significant impact around the world to people on our planet. That's what we believe in. We want to work with you. And next slide, please, Luca. So really with that from Luca, myself, and the whole of Oracle and the team on board today, we wish you, well, good luck.
And happy hacking.
Happy hacking and have lots of fun. We can't wait to see what you produce tomorrow. So thank you.